What's going on, everybody? Mortem here with some news, actually, on Beamdog's new game, Mythforce. Now, I don't normally cover news like this, however, the only reason I am doing so is because of the company behind the game, Beamdog. Now, this particular channel covers just a ton of CRPGs, as well as most isometric CRPGs. And Beamdog is the company responsible for all of the enhanced editions, etc. that you see with the Infinity Engine titles. We've known for quite some time that they were working on a project of sorts, and it is Mythforce. Now, honestly, I do have some opinions about this, and we'll get to those at the end. First up, I am going to basically just tell you what this game is, and then I'm going to give my opinions about it. So, Mythforce is going to be a first-person roguelike that will support up to 4-player co-op. You can play it single player, but basically you're going to run through levels with up to 4 people. You're going to take on a role of one of 4 heroes, which seems to be set in stone. You're going to battle and fight monsters, leveling up and taking perks as you go. However, that progress is per game, or per session, if you will. And the whole thing kind of gives off this 80s cartoon vibe. From there, let's actually talk some opinions. For starters, I just have to express the fact that I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't an isometric CRPG, as Beamdog has put a lot of work into those types of titles. A lot of people that work at Beamdog have worked on those games, and as someone who just loves those things, I was frankly just disappointed to see that's not the direction that they decided to take. So, admittedly, with a little bias, I went into this being a bit disappointed. Next up, they are putting it on the Epic Games Store as an exclusive, and I've never been a fan of that. It is no surprise to me why developers do it, because at the end of the day, it's essentially a guaranteed way for them to fund their project, and it makes just complete business sense for them to do so. However, it is incredibly annoying for you and I, the consumers. And this game is apparently hitting early access on April 20th, and while if it had been on Steam, I might have given it a look, but with it being an Epic Games Store exclusive, I'm definitely not going to be checking this out personally, as it doesn't really speak to me, frankly. However, that said, what they showed looks competent for what it is, which is, of course, that first-person co-op roguelike. From that perspective, it looks decent. I actually really dig the 80s cartoon vibe. I think anything a game can do to look and feel unique in the space that we're in these days is going to help it out, and you don't exactly see a lot of games with that visual direction out in the market. Now, while I've admitted that I am, again, disappointed it wasn't an isometric CRPG, and that I frankly don't have much interest in this, at the same time, I don't really ever want to be a person who's stifling what other people want to do creatively, so I think that in no way is every company required to make exactly the kind of games that I like, etc. So on one hand, I am kind of glad that they're doing something that they clearly wanted to do, and what they showed looks solid enough. I do, however, nonetheless feel like this game might struggle a bit, frankly, primarily due to the factors of it being an Epic Games Store exclusive. I think there are some larger titles that already have just such an established fan base that going that route really isn't going to do it any harm. But for a title like this, the broadest possible audience you could have gotten it to would have been better, especially since it's like a co-op thing. So I can see why financially they might have wanted to go that route to essentially guarantee a certain amount of sales or whatever, as Epic Games has been incredibly generous for these exclusive deals. In fact, they lose insane amounts of money doing this for their store. And then the other factor is just that this isn't really a game people were expecting from Beamdog, and I imagine that most people who are fans of what they've done up to this point are probably going to be real hit or miss on this title, which, because of it being such a departure from what they do as a result, it's really going to have to search pretty high and low for an audience that it frankly may or may not find. But there you go, guys. Pretty much everything I had to say on this. Again, truthfully, really would have preferred to see an isometric CRPG from these guys, as I think more original IP in that space would really go a long way for that genre. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, by all means, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about their new game, Mythforce. But regardless of any of that, truly, thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.